Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Becca and today I have 10 books that are going to self-destruct in 12 months. So you may be familiar with this series that I do on my channel. It only happens once a year, but I know quite a few other people have done it now. But essentially I am somebody who has a lot of books. Might as well just leave it there. But a lot of my books I picked up secondhand over the years, or friends have been unhauling them and I've been mildly interested in them and I've decided that I will give them a go. However, now my collection is growing quite a lot. My taste has evolved. I read different things than I did even like 2 years ago, and some of the books on my shelves I do want to read them, but they're not like a huge priority and they're just sitting there collecting dust. So every year I make a video with 10 books, and if I haven't read them at the end of a 12-month period, I will be unhauling them. Now I am somebody who gets very attached to objects and I struggle to unhaul things because I'll pick up a book that I have no interest in and I think like, oh, but what if I like it when I read it, even though it's something that I just generally, like, you would not think that I would pick up and enjoy. So what this video does to me is it gives me a adjustment period of sorts, because I find with any item, if I set it aside and say like, if I don't think about this, or if I don't whatever with this item in the next whatever period of time, then I'm gonna get rid of it. And I feel like that period of time allows me like subconsciously to come to terms with the fact that this item is not a part of my life anymore. So by the time the 12-month period has passed with these books, I will already have processed the fact that I'm going to be unhauling them, and the sentimental attachment I have on these books irrationally will have disappeared or diminished, so it's easy for me to unhaul them after that. So I'm going to be showing you 10 books, and in 12 months time I will come back and do a reaction to this video. We'll see what I've read, what I haven't read, and we will unhaul everything that remains unread. So I do not actually know a lot about these books that I'm going to be showing you guys today, and this could be like the great young adult fantasy purge. Saying that, they're not all young adult fantasy, but there is more young adult fantasy in here than I have ever included in one of these videos previously. So starting off, we have The Fandom by Anna Day. This is an art copy that was included in an Illumicrate like a million years ago. Not even an Illumicrate that I had. I've been a rep for Illumicrate for going on for 2 years now, and this predates me being a rep for Illumicrate. My best friend Ryan received this in one of his boxes a few years ago and he read it, doesn't want it anymore. I said that I would give it a go, and I believe that this one is about some teenagers who go to Comic-Con to like see the actors or whatever from their favorite movie, and they get sucked into the world of it. I do think I've heard as well that this is better in concept than it is in execution. We then have Nerve by Gian, and once again I've heard that this is better in concept than it is in execution, but it is one that very much intrigues me. But it centers an online game comprised of high stakes dares, and you can either join as a player or a watcher. The main character or characters end up playing this game and it quickly starts to get out of hand. One that I've acquired quite recently is The Cousins by Karen M. Mcmanus. This was included in I think the December Illumicrate, and it is a young adult thriller about 4 children that are suddenly dropped by their mother with a single sentence, "You know what you did," and this picks up like a few years after that has happened. Nothing against this, it is just a young adult thriller. I don't read a whole ton of thrillers to start off with, and when I do, I like ones that are generally incredibly dark and incredibly twisted. I don't want to say that I'm not going to, because I don't want to make that assumption as somebody who doesn't read young adult thrillers, but I don't think I'm going to get those vibes from a young adult thriller. I will be interested to read this and give it a go, but with thrillers, even after I've read them, I don't tend to keep them because I feel like they've served their purpose when I'm reading them, and then afterwards, like, I personally don't think I would ever reread a thriller. Ivy Aberdeen's Letter to the World by Ashley Herring Blake. This is a children's contemporary story. I don't read a lot of contemporary, I don't read a lot of children's books, so this one would be one that I read, enjoyed it in the moment, and never thought about it again. But I believe that this one is about a young girl whose hometown is, yeah, ravaged by a tornado, and she has a sketch pad that is full of drawings of things like girls holding hands, and she's terrified of people finding it, and then I think people are slipping the pictures from her sketch pad through her locker, and she would like to know who is doing that because she thinks that she may be developing feelings for people of the same gender as her, and that is something that she is not ready to disclose yet because she doesn't yet understand and process her own feelings. The Good Hawk by Joseph Elia. This is one that I received in a subscription box that I repped for a while. I think it was the Book Box Club, and this is a young adult fantasy. I want to say, I don't actually know. Yeah, it's fantasy. If everything was taken from you, what would you do to get it back? Agatha patrols the seawall with pride despite those in her clan who question her right to be there because of the condition she was born with. Jamie is a reluctant angler full of self-doubt and afraid of the sea. When disaster strikes, the pair must embark on a terrifying journey to a land where forgotten magic and dark secrets lurk in every shadow. I've been straying away from young adult fantasy for a little while now. I'm not prioritizing it. I'm trying to move towards adult fantasy just in general, and this does not sound incredibly interesting to me. I don't know, it sounds alright. I tend to not really judge books, or try not to judge books too much based on the synopsis, and just kind of pick up what I've heard good things about, what sounds interesting, and make a judgment when I'm reading it. I just don't really have any desire to pick this up, and I can't really explain it any better than that. One that I don't know a great deal about, but I don't really want to know a great deal about, is Luckiest Girl Alive by Jessica Knowl. This was a reasonably popular thriller a few years ago, and I believe it follows a girl who went to either a boarding school or a like private school, and something happened there, and she spent all of these years trying to move on from whatever it is that happened, and a documentary producer comes and asks her about what happened at that school, and she also allows them to like film her wedding, and I think she's kind of like reliving what actually happened at this time because people aren't quite sure. Like with The Cousins, it's a thriller, so when I have read it, I doubt I will want to keep it or reread it. It does still sound interesting to me, but I just suck at picking up thrillers. The things that I just kind of read, I want to say like intermittently, and don't really prioritize, but I do want to read them. I do actually really enjoy thrillers when I read them. I just never pick them up, so putting them on a list like this means that like I will actually think about them because I do want to read them before I let them go. The Forest of Hands and Teeth by Carrie Ryan. This is a young adult zombie story. I've heard that the first book in this series is pretty good, but the rest of the series goes downhill. I did sample the first chapter of this for a try a chapter tag, and the first chapter was reasonably intriguing. I decided not to unhaul it anyway, and I don't really know too much about that. It sounds like more of a maybe fantasy zombie story than a dystopian zombie story, but I'm not 100% sure about that. The 100 by Cass Morgan. I picked this up because there's a TV show based on it, and I still have not watched that TV show, so I have no like real driving force to pick up this book, and I also heard that the show ended terribly. But this is about alien children, alien teenagers that come to Earth with like strange powers. Is that right? 100 juvenile delinquents considered expendable by society are being sent on a dangerous mission to recolonize the planet. I have sampled a chapter from this as well. What I read was reasonably compelling. It's just not my top priority, you know, like if I want to read a sci-fi, there's so many I own that I'm much more excited to read than this one. Enchantée by Gita Trellis. This one is an ARC that I picked up at a charity shop. I do tend to pick up ARC copies at charity shops because I get really excited at seeing an ARC copy in a charity shop. It only cost me like £1, I think, but this just says on it, there's no press release in it, and on the back it just says, like her ancestors before her, she would use this dark and creeping magic to go to court to glitter to win. Sounds interesting, but I think that the French inspired like medieval fantasy type thing in young adult is being really overdone over the last like year or two, and this one I heard a lot about when it was released. I saw a ton of people getting ARCs, haven't heard anything about it since then. It does sound intriguing, may give it a read, but it's not like appealing to me too much right now. And another one that I picked up, I think this one cost me 25 pence from a Tesco charity table, and this one is Shadow Scent: The Darkest Bloom by PM Freestone. This one is, I think the magic system revolves around scent, and it says when disaster strikes, the crown prince lies poisoned, long suppressed rivalries threaten to blow the empire apart. It's up to Raquel, a poor village girl with a talent for fragrances, and Ash, the prince's loyal bodyguard, to find an antidote. Haven't seen many people read this, but I have heard some pretty good reviews about it. I'm pretty sure it's young adult and not adult, but yeah, I'll give it a go. Fingers crossed. May like it, may not. But this is another one where I'm pretty confident that if you asked me to pick up a young adult fantasy and read it every week for a year, this would never, over the 52 weeks of a year, this would never be one that I thought about picking up. So So there you have it. These are the 10 books that are going to be self-destructing in 12 months. I'm probably, like, chances are I'm not going to get to all of these, so do please let me know down in the comments of this selection which ones are the best ones, which ones would you recommend that I definitely give a go before the 12-month period is up and I have to unhaul them unread, and which ones do you think I shouldn't prioritize and just let them go, let them fade into obscurity and find a new home. But that is it for this video today, guys, so please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna. If you head into my description box, you'll find a link to my Goodreads, Instagram and Twitter if you'd like to follow me on any of those, as well as a link to my Bookish body butter and candle website, the Instagram for that, and a 10% off discount code. But that's it from me today, guys. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you're a go and nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.